Hello, my Zim community. It's Diadem37 here, bringing you another Zim configuration tutorial. And I'm going to be honest with you, this one took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to take me. And I'm going to get into that in a second here. But let's start out. So I benchmarked it at 25,000 DPI, 1000 hertz polling rate, like I do with every configuration. And I did make sure to test it with the appropriate sensitivity and smoothing adjustments at 3200 DPI as well. And like always, I will have the calculations down below in the description. But as you can see, to start things off, so if you look to the left, we're using the Destiney 2 Xbox Series X/S mouse translator. Because, and I cannot confirm this for PlayStation, I did try and look up. Apparently, there were issues with the old mouse translator for PS5. So I hope this works for PlayStation 5 as well, but I cannot confirm that as I only have a PC and an Xbox Series X. I can confirm that it will work with your Xbox One X and Xbox One, as from what I was reading, the old translator after the update on the game no longer works correctly. So that was the first slight hurdle to jump over. The second hurdle was actually the in-game settings. So sorry, this is going to be a bit of a talking head video to start out with here. The in-game settings are so limited. So basically, you're going to max out your sensitivity. That's all you can do. There's no aim assist disabled. There's no aim acceleration. There's no advanced look controls, and that threw me off because now I solely had to rely on the Zim app and the utilities that it offered. And I did play with a number of ballistic curves, which I hate doing. You guys have been watching for a while. You know I hate using ballistic curves. I didn't end up using ballistic curves. I did find a way around it, and the game does feel okay on the Zim if you get used to playing the game on the Zim. And I'll get into that again in a second. But so, like I said, like always, benchmarked at 25,000 DPI, 1000 hertz polling rate, and I did make sure with the appropriate sensitivity adjustments and smoothing adjustments. I tested this out at 3200 DPI as well, and it works just fine. So. As you've noticed, there's a running trend in my latest configurations where I am using a lot of boost. No simulate analog behavior here, as this game had a wicked strong aim assist even in PvP mode. So the boost is kind of there, like I've explained in the Apex high velocity video. There are certain sweet spots that will give me that minimum stick input and allow a maximum acceleration at near all times, if I can say it like that. So that's why we're going to see a stronger boost for hip and a weaker boost for ADS here. So 4.50 was my sweet spot for the sensitivity. And it's weird. If you try and make any fast movements, guys, you're actually going to be turning very slow in this game rather than at the max turn speed. And the max turn speed in itself is slow. So even with the sensitivity at maxed, I did pick up my controller just to test this out. It is a slow max turn speed, which drove me nuts. The other thing to note is I am at maximum field of view. I forgot to say that at the beginning, so just keep that in mind with these sensitivities, as they might change if you're playing on a lower FOV, although I don't know why you would need to in this game, as the spaces are quite small and the combat's more or less close quarters with the occasional sniping. But anyways, let's move forward here because there's a bit to cover. The ADS configuration, once again, like I said, the boost is going to be lower. That's the most notable thing to pay attention to. And our sensitivity is going to be at 3. Again, that's just how I like playing, because in most games, even on PC, I do lower the sensitivity for zooming in or ADS by a couple points. So that's your aiming. Now, I did create a loot configuration. So as you guys know, just let me grab the mouse here. On the Logitech, we have this button right here, and it is originally a DPI shift button, if I'm not mistaken. That's what Logitech calls it. So you can actually shift to a lower DPI or higher DPI, whatever you set it to. I've actually bound the 0 key to that particular button for the looting. Now, the other thing that we're going to go and do, sensitivity is going to be a bit of a preference here, so I'm going to let you guys play with that. I have mine set to 5, smoothing at 20. Excuse me, just because I do find it a bit jittery when going into menus with the looting configuration, we'll call it, or inventory. So notedly here, we're going to check off left stick. You can see that right down here. So you're going to make sure to check off left stick. Then you're going to scroll further down. You're going to unbind the WASD from the left stick, and we're going to bind that to the right stick. So you are no longer going to be able to move the cursor in the menus while you are holding 0 or the DPI shift button, whatever you guys choose to bind that to. And you're solely going to be moving that cursor around in your inventory with the mouse. So that was one thing that I find it quite nice. I'm used to playing on PC, and when I want to go through my inventory, I don't want to have to do it with WASD. It's a little bit clunky, and you can't control the velocity too well. Now, this game also posed a sprinting slowdown for your turning. So when you engage in a sprint, your look will actually slow down. There's almost like a delay before that max turn kicks in. So to overcome that, I bound it to my sprint key. This auxiliary is bound to the sprint key. And you can have it on toggle, and you can open up the deactivation if you want. I would recommend leaving this on hold because I did try it with the deactivation, so sprint and then jump. But what would end up happening is I would land on the ground and continue sprinting, and I had jump as my deactivation at one point, and then I tried turning it off and making aim and other. The simplest way to do it is sprint, engage your sprint, hold it, let go when you're done sprinting and you want to aim, and you'll return back to a normal aim. I also tested this on the Sparrow in the open world game mode, so the campaign or whatever you want to call it. And this works really well with the Sparrow as well. Now you're going to jump on that Sparrow, hit left control. The Sparrow is going to automatically do that strafe boost. Don't worry, keep holding it. You're still going to be in this auxiliary, and it's not going to strafe boost. And I found that you can use LB and RB to strafe in the Sparrow as well. So the settings here, as we scroll down, so you can see I have the sensitivity higher up here. We're going to be at 10 sensitivity. And I did try playing with the ballistic curve or the ballistic editor, and it wasn't, it was too much. No matter how I tried playing with it, I even did like a zigzag formation. I elevated it at the beginning so it would try and skip that initial slowdown. You cannot get by that slowdown at the beginning, guys, no matter what you do. It's implemented in the game. And then, like I said, that slowdown is gonna carry through even when you're continuing with that turn. So the boost being so high here really helps overcome that, and you're still going to maintain some fine aim and sprint. How necessary is that fine aim and sprint? Personally, I don't think it's that necessary, but you're talking to someone that really hasn't played this game a lot. Multiplayer, so PvP was difficult for me because I was a really low power level going up against the average player having like 1300 power level, getting one shot by shotguns, snipers, two shot with magnums. My guns weren't up to par. I don't have any modifications on my gear, so it was a little bit difficult. I did start getting the hang of it, did start putting mods on my equipment like you're supposed to in the game. So you're going to see some IQ moments to start off with in the gameplay footage just to see how well this configuration works. Guys, like always, if the video helped, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay up to date for further content. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, anything else you want to see, make sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date. And just a little teaser for you, I will be working on a Outriders configuration and a Grand Theft Auto 5 configuration, as both of these games have joined the Game Pass lineup. So I look forward to building these configurations for you guys as well. Hope you enjoy the gameplay. Look forward to catching you in the next video. What did I just say? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna bop one shot.